up, y'all? What's up, y'all? Wanted to come through for a little bit, stop by a little bit. Been on Twitter. I've been seeing other people talk about it, so I thought I'd go ahead and put mine 5 cent on it. So I'll let a few more come in real quick. But while we wait for a few people to come in, let's talk about Rico Dowdle real quick. I know that wasn't in the title, but let's talk about Rico Dowdle before we get to the big boys. Hey, look, to go ahead and keep a long story short, look, Rico Dowdle, that ain't a move that you worry about. That's just a move to camp body, save it. You know what I mean? That ain't really nothing. Let's just be honest with you. Look, if he couldn't take TP's job, who ain't a running back, then there ain't no hope for that boy. So, yes, the Dallas Cowboys will still be looking for a running back or two. At least I would hope so, because he hasn't shown you anything that you will have trust in him. Because if he can't take TP job, man, I don't know what to tell you. Like how they couldn't get that boy some carries, I just don't know, but it is what it is. But yeah, man. Let's get straight into this. Cowboys lose Johnathan Hankins to old Aiden Dirty, whatever his name is, man, to the Seattle Seahawks. People said, oh, my God, they're panicking. Oh, we lost Big Hank. Oh, what shall we do? Well, I'll be honest with you. Because if you remember what I said, one, we could use without him, but I said I would bring him back just in case we need a body to go ahead and hold us over if we needed to. But they didn't see it that way. To be candid with you guys, Johnathan Hank definitely lost another step. I could pull up the film. And show you again. It'll be an old film, but I could show you again on Johnathan Hankins being on the ground multiple times and the pace of that game being a little bit too much for him. I can show you. I can prove this to you. Johnathan Hankins, was he the best that we had? Yes, he was. And especially him being there, he was a solid addition. But in them trenches, you can't be a half step behind, because when you get into a position like the Green Bay Packers, it'll be exposed. See, we got to understand that what the Dallas Cowboys was going against this year was scrubs. It was going against scrubs. Hank, it's like this. Do you give him what? A couple mil for 15? See, he was going to have to still take another reduced role. Yeah, I know that he was coming. He got a little banged up, though, but Hank was ready. It's time to move on. I even told you that I will get some value from Osa. I will move on from Osa. I would. And y'all know I rock with Osa. I would move on for him, too. From what it's looking like, especially with the draft capital that your Dallas Cowboys got, it's looking like it's a possible rebuild situation going on here. It's looking like the Zimmer situation was the hope to instill, to bring some discipline for the future, hopefully. But the moves that they're making, I don't see nothing long-term, and I don't see nothing that'll go ahead and scream, we ready to go farther than the first round. So that's just what it is. Hank, like I said, man, Hank was look, and I'm not going to tell you that Hank wasn't a good addition, because Hank was a good addition. It was just in the wrong circumstances. And the wrong circumstances was being with this Dallas Cowboys team. Because look, we had Hank, but we still sucked against the run. Right now, we know it's more than just a Hank type of thing, and we know that we were better with Hank being at nose tackle, but we still sucked against the run. We still sucked. And ideally, as we spoke about it early on, was that this was supposed to be a training year for Mazi in hopes that he'd take over in the second year. Now, I mean, them hopes is kind of, kind of gone now, right? Not saying that Mazi can't develop into something, but we coming off a season where we could say we ain't got no hope. Mazi did absolutely nothing to give us hope. T-Dog. Eastside, Eastside got a key player. Nah, he lost his stat. Oh, yes. Very important draft. Very important draft. And they don't have enough draft picks to go ahead and address this either. They need to trade back. But yeah, I mean, in regards to Big Hank, man, it was like, all right, if we brought him back, all right, cool. That's another body. But then, if we didn't bring him back, I'm also not tripping like, all right, man, he just not back. Time to move on. Y'all know, man, and looking at the draft prospects, that I don't think that the defensive draft really gonna start till like the third round. There's a couple people that's going, there's a few people that's going to be justified to go early on, but a lot of the value ain't going to come through for the defensive draft to the third round. And as far as D tackle, man, one of my candidates, if they can't get the couple D tackles that I was talking about, especially at 3 Tech, I like that big LSU boy, Mason Smith. I like him. I think he could develop to be a good D tackle. A good solid D tackle. If you need somebody that could be similar like your Mike Pennell, I think he could go ahead and develop into that. Especially under Zimmer. That boy is strong. He ain't going to go ahead and get you 15, 10 sacks or whatever the case may be, but he's strong. That's who I'm going for in that fourth round area. That's who I'm looking for right there. And regarding this draft, shoot, you might got to pull the trigger earlier. But yeah, but here's my thing, because I also wanted to address this as well, right? I didn't want to be too long today. So Mazi Smith, I guess the hot topic today was people was comparing Mazi Smith to Jordan Davis. So they talked about how the statistics is similar. Look, as I always say, statistics will never tell the whole story. You should never ever just go off of statistics. Because if you really look at both of them players, let's be honest, Cowboy Nation, if we had anything remotely close to what Jordan Davis provided, we will be singing a better tune about Mazi Smith. We already came with the expectation of knowing that Mazi Smith wasn't going to give us too much in the passing game. But was we disappointed in what he gave us in the running game. So that's where we don't really have hope, right? So basically what we getting at is that, hey, since Mazi on us roster, they say, hey, look, y'all. Hey, look, Cowboy Nation. We beefing up Mazi Smith right now. And we're going to get him ready to be your starting nose tackle. Because that's exactly what he's going to have to be. You have nobody else. Carl Davis, he ain't going to cut it for us. Not going to cut it for us. So, and you lost all your other D tackles. Osa can't play the 1. Maybe in passing downs, but he can't play the 1 consistently. That'll wear him down. You see how he was getting done in the film when we did that about a couple months ago. You seen how he was getting done. A whole lot of exposing came about, especially up front. Majority of what we already knew, but some in regards to players that we had a little bit higher expectations for. Look, to go back to that comparison, look, Mazi Smith ain't at this point in time, even though his ceiling is higher, he ain't nowhere near Jordan Davis right now. That's just the honest truth. So I understand that y'all going, a lot of people going at it with Eagles fans and everything, though. But we got to keep it real. Right now, he ain't nowhere near Jordan Davis. Not saying that he can't be better, because he could mess around and have an awakening and end up being better than Jordan Davis. Just not even on those statistics alone. Because let's be honest with, I'm not judging, and this is my thing. This is why I got so much grace for Mazi Smith, and that in all reality, my expectations was high, because I wasn't judging Mazi Smith based on statistics. I don't really judge no nose guard off of statistics. There's a whole lot of things going on that a nose guard would do that has nothing to do with statistics. So we can't judge the nose guard off of statistics. But one thing we all know is we got eyes. And we've seen that our big nose guard was getting drove back 5-10 yards. That ain't cool. He got whooped in the Green Bay game, even on limited reps. That ain't cool. We ain't trying to hear, look, I ain't trying to hear about the weight. Now, yeah, the weight plays a factor, but he was getting his ass whooped with the weight. And then without the weight, you're still big enough, and you should still be strong enough not to get bullied like that, because you ain't too far away from Osa's weight, if we just being honest here. So they ain't no excuse to get done dirty. You got to hold your ground. Your thing is, hey, we wanted Mazi to go ahead and hold his ground, keep them linebackers clean. That's all we was really asking for this year. Hold your ground, keep them linebackers clean, play a gap and a half. I'm selfish, so maybe 2, and go about it like that. But we didn't even get nowhere near that. So the Dallas Cowboys is hurting at D tackle right now. Hurting bad. You have none. Who is a defensive tackle on this roster? You got Osa, you got Mazi and Carl Davis, and then what? That's about it, right? You have none. They're hurting. And for this so-called cap space that we don't got, and our limited draft resources that we do have, and we got all these holes, what you gonna do, Jerry? What you gonna do, Steven? What you gonna do, Will McClay? They're gonna have to trade down. They're gonna have to. Unless one of them 3 picks that I was talking about earlier, y'all, in that first round, y'all know at this point in time, I'm telling y'all right now, my 3 picks, for what I've seen so far, is Kool-Aid McKinstry, Graham Barton, and Darius Robertson. They're my 3 picks right now for the first round. They're my 3 for what I've seen so far. Now, I didn't like a couple other players from positions, but them somebody that I can say that I will go later on, like second round type thing, right? But they're my 3 right there. They're my 3. We got a lot of holes, man. And the holes is only getting bigger. They come with this approach that we're going to sign our own guys, but shoot, your own guys is over there with the Commanders with old Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn was out there, man. Dan Quinn was out there shaking up, shake him up, shake him up, shake him up. That boy done took some players on your defense. He done took your depth, and he done took your center. He said, we gonna milk the cow, man. But on our reality, especially the way it's looking like, it's probably gonna have to be offensive line, because Darius Robinson is probably gonna get drafted earlier if anybody was smart than where we picking at. And Kool-Aid McKinstry, if anybody was smart, he gonna be going earlier too. So with that being the case, knowing that interior offensive line is kind of more on the back half of things, then I'm looking at Graham Barton. So far, what I'm seeing, Graham Barton is my guy. He's my guy. And I think that that'll be wonderful for the Dallas Cowboys, not only with his versatility, But we'll talk about that. We'll talk more about Graham Barton because I got a whole page of notes just on that boy alone. So we'll talk about him when we break it down. I'm almost done with him. I've been working, y'all. I was working today. I'm almost done with him. Give me a couple more, and I'm ready to present. I'm ready to present. But yeah, man, it's not looking too good. And then I seen something. I don't know if it was true, but they said that in order to acquire more cap space, that they was gonna give that extension with 2 voidable years for Dak Prescott, and he was gonna save $5 million. Whoop de doo. We were gonna save $5 million. Whoop de doo. Whoop de doo. Whoop de doo. $5 million. That's gonna be so much, and that's so worth it to keep our scrub ass quarterback. Whoop de doo. This ain't looking too good, man. Ain't looking too good. I'm telling y'all. I'm letting y'all. I'm trying to be patient. Our last grasp, y'all, is going to be in another month. In a month, we're going to find out what your Dallas Cowboys is going to be in a month. And at that draft, if they ain't willing and dealing, acquiring vets through the draft and making some key draft picks, your Dallas Cowboys, man, they might not make it to the playoffs. It's looking like that because you gotta remember. And remember this key thing that what's his name? Jordan Love said. He said that he understood that your cornerbacks, excluding Trayvon Diggs, was protected by that pass rush. I'm gonna let that sit on y'all all season. I'm gonna let that sit. He said they gonna watch it in Texas. Man, hey, I hate to be that one that just this down about things. I hate to do it. It ain't looking too hot. Especially like, you know what I mean? It'll be one thing if we now I know that, like I said, I'm not gonna go ahead and stamp it because they could do a whole bunch of things on draft day. They can trade a player or two and get some draft picks. They can actually do what I think would be the best to do, which is trade 11 and get a nice little pickup and some more draft picks. But we gonna see. You know what I mean? Because all this aggressive and going for it all type thing, we knew that wasn't gonna happen. We knew that wasn't gonna happen. The same ass approach. I heard, and I was listening when I was eating dinner. I was listening to 105.3 The Fan when they was talking about the Dallas Cowboys free agency approach. And they was talking about that double standard. And that double standard is with Dak. They about playing average players like they good and good players like they great. And that's exactly what you're doing with Dak Prescott. Because there's no way that he shouldn't be at maximum making Kirk Cousins money. He should be really making like Daniel Jones money. You know, and if that contract was about 20 mil cheaper, I don't think that we would really be tripping the way that we tripping now. We will already be talking about the replacement, but we will understand that, hey, we getting what we pay for. But Dallas Cowboy Nation already understands that we're not getting what we pay for. We paying the quarterback $60 million to get bounced in the first round. We was paying them $50 million, $40 million to get bounced in the first round. We're doing a whole bunch of overpaying. We paying Terrence Steele like a Pro Bowl right tackle, and he was a scrub. We paying Gallup like he was one of them boys, a few mil off of Amari Cooper, and he was a scrub. We paying Donovan Wilson like he one of them safeties, like he can get like he just a game changer. And he above average at best. So we're gonna see. We waiting. We waiting. You know, this was, and I'm gonna tell you something, man. That I was gonna tell you this year. Last year was the wrong year to not execute on the draft, because what I'm seeing this year, and if they're trying to rely on the draft this year, man, from what I've seen so far, you better hope that somebody can make a way out of no way in developing some talent, because this is not a draft like last year's. Not even close. Not even close. Last year, I could name you 5 good linebackers: Henley, Overshown, Pace. I know I'm missing a couple, but there was some I can name. What was it? Williams. I can name you a few linebackers. This year, it was a struggle to go ahead just to put a top 5 together. Now, granted, I only know I watched 10 of them, but 10 is a lot. 10 is a lot. That's all I'm saying. It's not looking too good, Cowboy Nation. You know, there now see what it is you're supposed to be always be see free agency is supposed to help you be in that position to go for BPA, best player available. But the Dallas Cowboys, like they did last year, is probably getting ready to start going for need. And when they do that, you get a higher probability of missing. And the Dallas Cowboys, with their approach to building a team, can't afford to miss many when it comes to acquiring players in the draft. They can't afford to miss many. And if last year's draft was damn near a complete bust, ooh. See, you can't afford, right? See, I'm going to tell you some players that you can't afford at this point in time to not lose out on. One, Mazi, he got to pan out. Schoolmaker, got to pan out. Overshown, got to pan out. Fajoku, got to pan out. Eric Scott, got to pan out. Deuce Vaughn, got to pan out. Them players have to pan out. They have to. They are at players of impact that you need. You need a number 2 tight end. You need a nose guard. You need a linebacker. You need a corner. You need a DN that's going to stop that run for cheap. You need a running back that can make and produce some explosion like TP did in the previous year. Not this past year, but the year before that. That's what you need. So you can't afford to miss out on them on them specific players. Now, Brooks looking like he might be solid, which can also be a plus. But wide receiver, that's a little easier to get. It would have been nice to get a vet running back, but unless they make a trade, which there's one running back left, and he's with the Houston Texans, and it's looking like they have no room for him, especially with the signing of Mixon, that I would think that the Dallas Cowboys will be interested in. Pierce. That's my last one. Unless the Vikings got me something with the one from UAB, the rookie from last year. Can't think of his name, but he about 215, 220 pounds. So they're gonna have to get ready to will and deal, and probably get ready to have to get rid of a couple of them future picks that they got in next year's draft. Because in next year's draft, it looked like it's pretty deep as far as the picks that they have. So they're probably gonna have to go ahead and get rid of them picks or two, especially since they're getting some of them compensatory picks. They're gonna have to get rid of a pick or two to be able to acquire a player or some more picks. They're gonna have to do that. It's mandatory. You're gonna have to trade back too. It's mandatory. You can afford to do that. Draft ain't as good as last year's. You can afford to do that. It's going to be interesting, one, to look at these tackles, and two, to see what kind of running backs that they got. It's going to be very interesting, because that's going to let us know that this tackle and this running back position that we get ready to cover in this next week, it's going to be key. I'm interested. It's key. Because I ain't going to lie, I'm interested. I'm having fun looking at these offensive linemen. I'm having fun. I'm having fun. And it answers some questions that I've been seeing. It answered a lot of questions that I had. It did. And the tackles is probably gonna solidify what the Cowboys is gonna do once I look at them. I know it is. I know it is. You're gonna draft a running back-to-back years. You need to go find you a Pacheco, boy. You need to find you a Pacheco if you're gonna do all that. Cowboys, man, the past couple little drafts, man, it ain't looking too hot though, like that. As far as players that they keeping, like Kelvin and all them, it's not looking too good. Last year, I mean, like I said, we're gonna give the draft picks time, but we'll know early on if they're gonna be something, or if they're gonna be something or not. We're gonna know early on. It ain't gonna take for us to go through the season to understand if they're gonna take that next step or not. I can promise you that. Yeah, man. I just want to let y'all know. Yeah, don't panic off of the Hankins thing. Don't panic off of that. You can replace you could honestly replace. You can honestly replace him. It's no panic, but it's just how you gonna replace him is the questions that we're gonna have until they do it. Mazi Smith, that's the biggest question mark of the offseason, to be honest with you. That's the biggest, because everything else, you could find a plan, but we spent the first round pick on Mazi. We spent the first. He has to pan out. There ain't no if. There ain't no I hope. Now, if we would have got Mazi in the third or fourth round, then we would understand not to have the expectations, but we can't afford for him not to pan out, y'all. He has to. Mandatory. Or this team, man. So I'm pretty sure they putting resources in there. They bulking him up. They beefing him up. One thing about him is it ain't gonna be hard for him to put that weight on. It ain't. It ain't gonna be hard for him to put that weight on. It ain't. It won't at all. Just get back to eating your hot Takis. Get back to eating your greasy food. Get back to eating your pork sandwiches. And we're gonna be all right. As far as weight goes, but what's really gonna be interesting to see is our new D-line coach. Can you get him right? Can you get that boy right? Can you get him right? Now I know what's his name? Zimmer asked of his D tackles, it'll probably be better suited for Mazi to have better success than it would be under Dan Quinn. But shoot, you got a tall order though, there, new D-line coach. If he can get him right, man, that show is worth the signing. And I see what they did, and to end up, I see what they did with Al Harris, y'all. That's the young coach, the young innovation that people was asking for. Is they trying to groom him up to be one of the ones? Is they trying to groom him up to be head coach? Is that what they trying to do? Al Harris is supposed to be the new head coach coming up. They seen what D'Amico Ryans and them did. So they're like, hold up. I see the way that they responded. Oh, Al. Al might got it. Al might could be that leader of men. That boy, that's a hell of a promotion. They prepping that boy. Boy, this gonna be interesting right here. I can tell you that right now. But all right, y'all, I just wanted to stop by the church sometime and preach a little bit to the masses, man. But until next time, y'all, we go.